Is that an actual or virtual background, Rod?
That's the real deal.
Wow, beautiful.
There's my house next to me, so.
Very nice. You're outside.
Middle of June with a jacket on.
And it was 95 just 2 days ago.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, 95 on Tuesday.
Hello, Michelle.
Hi, how are you all doing?
Nice to see. Oh, is that a doggy? Oh,
Yeah, he wanted to jump in my lap, so that's why I was a little late. We both need haircuts, so.
very sweet. We're going to give it a few more minutes just because there was a little confusion about what time we were doing this, okay?
Okay.
Let's see what time is it? 5:02. I didn't advise everyone to get a glass of wine, but you can.
We at work had a Zoom happy hour at 4. And so I have,
So you're already
Now
got
you
it.
have a head start.
yeah.
Oh, it's Friday.
Yeah.
It is?
I hope so. Not, I missed a lot of stuff today.
Well, I know we had more people signed up for this, so I am wondering if they are going to jump on at 5:30, but I suggest we just forge ahead. And the worst thing that's going to happen, everyone's unmuted, right? Can everyone hear me nicely?
Yep, you're there.
The worst thing that's going to happen is that some people join a little late. We can always circle back to them. And if I have to jump off in an hour to do the same thing for Chicago, Denny and Rod can finish up, and you don't have to do anything because Noelle is on and she can finish up the meeting. Okie dokie.
We're all set then.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Michelle and Andy and Bill and Mort and Cindy and some more people. And Dave, of course. Dave was our first joiner. You are very faithful, Dave. And some couple people were on the tasting last night, which was fun too. So if there's few enough of us that if you want, you could probably, I thought I unmuted everybody. But if you want to comment, just unmute yourself if you've got yourself muted intentionally. I think it's just Bill and Cindy who are being polite. I have, everyone else is polite too. I have a little bit of a fan action going in the background. Is it is it altering the way you can hear me, or is it
Can't
okay?
even hear
You can't hear it at all.
Excellent, good.
You're good. You're good.
I'm a big fan person as opposed to cranking up the AC. So I think you know everyone, but I specialize in introducing myself to people who've known me for 20 years and also introducing.
What are you doing, Janice?
So I'm Madeline, and Denny's on, and so is Rod, and we belong to Plum Market. And this is the very first time we have done this, because right now what we should be doing is welcoming you to an in-person luxury walk-around spring tasting. And for obvious reasons, this is not going to happen this late spring. We would have actually done it about a month ago, right, Denny and Rod? I think so.
That was the idea.
In May, right. So Plum Market's owner, Mark Jonah, co-owner, had this brilliant idea of doing an online end of spring sale. So Rod and Denny compiled this pretty terrific list, and we sent it very, very specifically. It's on the website, but those of you who are with us this evening are receiving an additional 10% off. We have a very soft spot in our heart. Everyone's equal, but some people are a little bit more when it comes to our guests, because you've been very supportive of all of our tastings, and we really appreciate it. It's not an issue. It's just an issue of your company. And we like to take you as personally as you take us. So thank you. And it goes without saying, but I have to say it. We hope everyone is staying healthy and as cheerful as possible in these times that I keep calling extraordinary, but you can't argue with me on that, correct? On so many levels, and one of the things I love about these meetings, whether we're actually tasting wine together or not, is that there is an inclusive feel to them that is wonderful, and it was a surprise to me, and I have to admit I selfishly enjoy it, so hopefully you feel the same way. What we're going to do is to just go through the sale, and Rod and Denny, and maybe occasionally I will chirp up and tell you about wines that we think you shouldn't miss, or why we put them on this list. Were you able to print out the PDF? If not, did you get, this was on the attachment. If you didn't get it, no worries. If you go back to your original invitation, it was, and you go to the sale, it's on the website. So if you want to print out a copy, like I like to look at them, and sort of shop the whole thing, it's there. Denny and Rod, they couldn't send it out with the invitation. That's what happened. The system wouldn't let them. But it's on the website where you can click on a PDF that has the entire list. But actually, no worries. I'm going to show you. Let's see if we can find it together. Can I experiment for 1 second? Hold on.
That's intriguing, because it says hundreds of wines, and yet what came through is like maybe 20. And I thought there was a little hyperbole on your part, but now I get it. There was an attachment that had all
There
this.
was an attachment, but I pulled up the website actually. So what I'm going to do, because everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great. I'm going to see if I can find it. Here's the end of spring wine sale. And here
It should be at the bottom of this page. Oh, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Right.
See, I thought those were the wines that were available with what was popping up. You had maybe 20 wines.
If you click on champagne, okay,
Right.
then it's going to give you all of the options for champagne.
Sure, but
There'd be a PDF floating around here somewhere, and I don't see it. We'll figure that out, and we'll communicate with you where to find it. But you can see, since we're here, we may as well do this. Is that okay with you, Rod and Denny? We'll just look at the site for a minute.
Sure.
Sure. I think, though, that if you click on the page that says buy wines, they give you a choice of what store to buy from.
right. right.
And, right, then
At
you
the
go,
bottom, at the bottom of that page, it says print the
PDF.
Print the
PDF.
PDF.
I didn't
So
see
if
that.
you click on, let's say,
Back.
spring wine sale there, that might get you to the page. Okay.
This
So if you
page.
go, yes. So if you go to the bottom, it should say that right
Oh.
there.
Oh, there it
Down,
is.
there it
So
is.
the Michigan booklet,
Right.
that's what you're gonna download. And
Okay.
when you do that,
I
go
just clicked
brilliant,
West
Rod.
Bloomfield and store, and that was
Yes.
it. You gotta
And
go
there
all-
it is.
Oh,
And what you're gonna see is something that you see at
Jesus.
all of our tastings.
That's a big difference.
That's a
Yeah.
big difference. It's
Big
huge.
difference.
And actually, they have printed out copies in the wine departments. So if if you happen to be shopping there, you can ask to see one. But Rod, your halo is glowing for showing us this.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
But,
It's always
So-
glowing.
So to recap, if you just hit the spring wine sale, that page should pop up. It says select your store below, and you just have to go to the bottom of that
and you
page.
go to the bottom of your store.
Thank you.
You click on spring wine sale, you go page down to the very bottom and download the Michigan booklet, or if you want to entertain yourself, download the Illinois booklet. That's the story. And then I'm gonna finish this up. Well, we can start talking to, no, you know what? I should go ahead and finish it up in case I have to pop off. But let's say we are buying things and we've added the Belle Epoque to the basket, right? And then our basket is right up here and we're done shopping. So we proceed to checkout. And okay. If you go to the very bottom, it says here, apply discount code. And this is where you're going to put in spring wine. And it will take 10% off, which it's already done. Do you see that? And then you place the order. But it will also tell you whether you want in-store pickup, any pickup comments.
I could add this too. We're not Amazon overnight, so we've been averaging about 72 hours before we can safely say that we will give you your order. So please be a little patient. I think it's built into the system that 72 hours, but everybody's been instructed to send out emails as soon as the order is ready to be picked up, or whatever options you might have. So, and if you need it ahead of that time, then that's certainly to let us know, and then we'll do everything we can to get it at the time frame that you really do need it.
This runs through Father's Day, June the 21st. So it's been nicely engineered that you can go shopping for Dad, and you can, place an order, and then if you want to circle back and place another one, you know what the discount code is. This spring wine sale is on the website, but that discount code has not been publicized, only to the people who got the invitation as you did. So as I said, you're shining a little bit more brightly.
Yeah.
And I think what we'll do is we'll start tromping through the wines that we feel strongly about. Here we go. Champagne, gentlemen, you want to talk about champagne options? They don't have all of them in front of them, but if you have a pad and a pen, if we say something that sounds intriguing, you can scribble it down. But these were three that I think Denny and Rod, one of you was enthusiastic about.
Rod's got two, and I've got one on that list.
What's the
Well, I picked the Drapier. I insisted it be on the list as a value leader in champagne. My thoughts about champagne are pretty particular. I personally think champagne is better than 95% of all of the other sparkling wines you could buy in the world. I've never had a bad champagne. I've had ones that have been less than others. I think Drapier to me fits in at least in the top 25% of that 97, that top 5%. It runs $30. It's mostly Pinot Noir. It's got a nice roundness. It over delivers. And at the 10% off, I think it's an unbelievable value. It's a kind of champagne that if you really like champagne and you understand how it's different from the rest of the sparkling wines in the world, you should probably buy a case, and then you could always have it when you really want the very best, and you don't have to worry about, well, is this the right label or not the right label? If you just show it to your friends and just show them the champagne, they'll drink it, they'll love it.
Yes.
The Kravitz is on there because it's just a beautiful label. It's a beautiful package. It's the same price, I believe, as our regular without that. But the special thing about that, it's a 2008, one of the greatest champagne vintages ever. Great ratings throughout. And these, for the most part, the 08s are gone. So this is a chance to pick up truly one of the great vintages in a special package from one of the best producers.
I'm wondering if I should just go to the website, and that way we can page through everything. Hold on, did I lose the website?
Madeline?
Yes.
Or Denny or Rod?
Yeah.
You touched on the description of the Drapier. It was kind of generic and global. Can you be more specific, or can some be more specific? I have certain tasting profiles I want to see in my champagne, and I want to know if there's any buzzwords that may influence me one way or the other. So if someone
Okay,
can
so
provide
it's
a little more detail.
It's 80% Pinot Noir, 15 Chardonnay, and 5% Meunier. It has undergone a malolactic. So between the Pinot Noir and a malolactic, you're getting a rounder, softer, easier drinking champagne. Many of them are crisp and bright, intense, like a Blanc Noir. This is certainly not that style. And it's a style I like because it's seamlessly well with food, all sorts of things, especially something like smoked salmon or something that's really got a little more charge to it.
I'm going to jump in about Dom Perignon. The thing about Dom Perignon to me is it's definitely a champagne's lover champagne. It's a thinking person's champagne. It creeps up on you. You can pay attention to it in your glass for hours. It is not as overtly and immediately delicious as some other Tête de Cuvées, but it's special. They have not dropped the ball on this wine. Should we go on?
Yeah, we can go back to the Belle Epoque 210 Rosé.
Here it is, right here. I think because everyone doesn't have the PDF, I'll just bring up the page. Is that okay?
No, that's fine.
No, there's the Belle Epoque. Mm-hmm.
So that's we thought we needed to have a rosé champagne on this list of opportunities, and boy, I agree with Rod on the Drapier. That's the deal of the week as far as champagne goes. But the overall situation with high quality, especially Grand Marque rosé champagne, is it's generally twice, if not more, expensive, much more difficult, and probably amounts to 6 or 8, 10% of the total production of that particular house's Grand Marque champagne. And the Belle Epoque Rosé has been something that we've always enjoyed seeing. It's a beautiful package, and it sells for $300. So this is a Pinot Noir Chardonnay, almost 50-50, and it's a very light, pale, but it has a tremendous amount of finesse and intensity that comes along with it. Truly a delicious bottle, and we were really fortunate last year. For whatever reason, the suppliers were looking to increase their sales, and we were given an opportunity to buy an amount of it at a dramatically discounted price, have gone through quite a bit of it, and have a little bit left. So to add that to our list of champagne seemed to round that out. And it's one of those bottles that it's as good as it looks, and certainly deserves some attention, especially at that deeply discounted price and plus 10%.
Well, it's pretty significant price. It's like half off.
Yeah, better than that almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
better than that.
No, but I mean, yeah, with the 10%. So I'm just gonna forget. I scrambled to get this PowerPoint done, but I think in a way it's better that I do. Oops, our bad. This is not a good thing. Hold on. It doesn't. Oh dear. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go here.
That happened with the white burgundy section too. You couldn't had oops. If you click the
white burgundy section,
the Maple Road, I mean the Maple Road location, some of the wines didn't pop up on the website, said oops. So
okay, so we need to tell our peeps to check that out. But I will say, even though we didn't pull up dessert wine, there's only 3 on there, and they're all from the same producer. And you may think, why are they promoting mead? Schramm's Mead. Ken Schramm wrote a book on mead production, and it is considered the preeminent mead producer in the United States and possibly the globe. And when you taste these wines, they're spectacular, honey-based. But picking one up for fun to check it out, it'll be a much better ambassador for itself than anything I can say. It's very, very special wine. But here we are with Sauvignon Blanc, and I think we have all of them up here on the screen. Jens, you want to jump in on anything in particular?
I have a fondness for the Dolnay Sancerre Clos de Chardonnay. I've been in the business. Yes, I've sold that wine over decades, and it's always been one of the best values. And what I've liked about it is that it's a little softer. They actually age it in big oak puncheons. It goes through a malolactic, so it comes off kind of creamy, but it has all of the attributes that you expect in Sauvignon Blanc, the gooseberries, a little bit of tropical fruits nowadays, but just a very luscious classic. This time of year is its perfect time.
I'm going to jump in onto Rod's comments because I've been buying it as long as I can remember. I think when I first started with the Matt Prentice Restaurant Group, which was in 1990, I remember buying Dolnay. And this is one of their premium cuvées, and they, a site specific, but it's not aggressively austere Sancerre, though it's still Sancerre. And I mean, I just think $25 for something of this quality is really special. Thank you. Got a couple.
I could also add something about the Chateau Busco. I have a fondness for white Bordeaux, and I think white Bordeaux is probably the most underappreciated great wine in the world today. Busco is really at the top end of what's going on. And if you don't know about what white Bordeaux, try this. It's got tropical fruits, peaches, melons. It's got this fruit basket. It's electric. They just jump right out of the bottle. It's soft, it's luscious. You would never think that Bordeaux has gotten to this point. It's much different than, let's say, Grave from 20 years ago. Quite moderate. And if you really just want to be surprised or just open up a bottle for somebody, don't even tell them what it is. I bet they'll never guess that it's a white Grave.
It's funny that you say about people, people happily spend this kind of money on white Burgundy, but it may not occur to them with regularity to spend it on white Bordeaux. And you'd be well served if you like really good white wine to check them out. I mean, on the other hand, we have a real value in the Clarendelle from the folks who make, wait for it, Chateau Aubryon, right?
Yep.
Then they make
Inspired by Aubryon is what it says on the label.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, very much in keeping with Rod said, I would give Dad the Busco Blanc on Father's Day and keep the Clarendelle for later in the week by myself. Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, touch of Muscadel. Very bright, fresh, substance, substantial in the mouth and easy to enjoy with light foods or by itself. Great wine for summer drinking. It comes across to me as a little fuller, a little more complex, different style than all the interesting Sauvignon Blancs coming from different parts of the world. The French seem to know how to do it with the Semillon. It gives it a little bit more depth and style. This is a really nice bottle, and we've been very, very happy with it since we put it in 2 or 3 years ago. They do a really
and you
nice job.
said it doesn't need food, but it can handle food. In other words, it's a great sipper by itself. You know, the acidity is sufficient, but not what you would call racy. And by the way, technology is so cool that our team texted me, and they're going to check all the links to make sure we don't get any oops pages. Yay.
On the Clarendelle, I tell my wife when she drinks it, it's great in a solo cup on the paddle boat.
Well, you know, actually, since we're talking about Dad and Father's Day, you may think, you know, we're hallucinating to spend $125 on Sauvignon Blanc, but this is the guy, Didier Dagenot. This label is considered the penultimate standard for Sauvignon Blanc on the planet. And Silex refers to the fossil-ridden soil in this area. But I mean, they use a little bit of new oak on this, but it doesn't destroy the character of the wine. Very, very special for somebody who likes, you know, really good white wine.
Very unique and hard to find.
Very unique and hard to find. Anything, let's see, California Chardonnay and white Burgundy. I know we want to get to the reds, but there were some whites here that we were excited about. I'm going to talk about the En Route. This is the Farniente folk, right?
Nickel and nickel people.
Nickel and nickel people. But, you know, every time I taste this wine, and I'm grumpy when it comes to have California Chardonnay, they don't have a 25% tip from me right up front. They got to work up to it. But every time I taste this wine, it combines a little bit of toast, a little bit of butter, plenty of acidity, lots of, you know, fresh apple fruit. It's very well executed. And it's certainly not overpriced at $30.
No, that's a bottle that's easy to sell at that price.
Yeah.
It has everything you want in a fairly rich style Chardonnay, but full on fruit and nice oak integration. Really well done bottle. And hopefully they keep doing that and keep the price in that same price point, because it's been a real hit for us.
Rod, you want to jump in, or Denny, on any of the white Burgundies? Well, before you do, I keep taking the mic away from you, but I love this wine. This was one that we showed in our virtual tasting with Dominique Drouin Boss and her brother Laurent Drouin. And I didn't really know they were this deep into Chablis. That, you know, they have an estate there and they've had it for a long time, and it's very good Chablis, and it is not dumbed down. You know, it is very mineral driven. So it's
Drinking it, Madeline. Outstanding.
Andy has a bottle.
Doing it right now.
Andy, bravo.
Well, I concur with Madeline.
Yeah, it's shockingly good for the money. You know, it's,
Oh my God, it's a
it is,
steal.
and it's real Chablis. You know, and this woman she really is a Chardonnay master by anybody's measure.
Yeah, one of the cute, interesting things now is when people come in and they'll ask for unoaked Chardonnay and they're standing in the California aisle. This gives you a chance to walk over and say, we have this wealth of stuff from France, and for $18 you can get a bottle of Drouin Chablis that fills the bill and has much more to it than an awful lot of the offerings that we're getting in that same price point from other places. But it's a very, very good bottle of wine for the money. Very good.
Those are Bon Clos de Mer sitting there looking at us, you know, definitely, and what, you know, significantly more expensive. But this is a bottling of Drouin that I've been selling since my days at the London Chop House, and I don't think they've ever missed. This is not I don't think it's a monopole, is it, Rod? But they control most of it.
There's a little bit of it. Somebody else makes a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But they're up like 80%, I think, aren't they, Ron?
I thought it was higher than that. It's a vineyard that's both Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. The name itself comes from that
Flies.
you can see little bees or flies, and they found out that the grapes ripen up ahead of the grapes around them. And that's because, and then it brought in the bees and the flies. So that's how it came by its name. It became the cornerstone of Joseph Drouin, I think, back in the 20s when he bought all that he could. He tried to buy everything, but he bought all that he could in this area. So they make a beautiful bone white and a bone red. I'd say the white, if you think of Corton Charlemagne, you're right there. That's what they do. Elegant, refined, just the oak is soaked into the wine. Of just a very beautiful Grand Cru quality white Burgundy.
It's a great white Burgundy. Noelle, are you on? Can you hear me? Or if I go away at 6 o'clock, will Denny and Rod still be able to keep going? Or do I have to? I may have to unmute her. Let's see. Unmute. Oh, some people are not unmuted. Plum Market, unmute. Well, I'm hoping that that's the case.
Well, let's take full advantage of your presence here and move forward.
Yes.
We should move forward. Okay, we're going to go back to, and those of us who joined us, there are 12 participants on now. Let's go back to, hold on, the website, which, did I lose it? No, there it is. All righty. So we've gotten through unique whites. You know, the one thing I would say, the one right here on the screen is just a terrific Albarino. And, you know, you get something unoaked, white, floral, and well under 20 bucks. But I think we should talk about rosé quickly. Don't you, gents? You want to
Sure.
point out one or two? You and I loved that Tavel the other day, Rod.
I call Tavel the what shot enough to pop is to reds in the Rhone. Tavel is to rosé. It's big, it's authoritative, fairly powerful. It's a little darker than most other rosés. Unlike rosés, which are generally one or two different grapes, this one uses a range of about 5 or 6. So you get a little bit more complexity, earthiness. You get red fruits. It's the kind of wine in the middle of the summer when you want to have steak. This is a rosé that you can have.
Yeah.
Be very well served by it.
Oops, did I lose it? Here it is. Danny, you want to jump in?
Well,
on
I think, and just on the opposite side of the river, we have the Gigolandos Rose, which amazingly has 3 of the same grapes that Tavel uses. This is a property that's owned by View Telegraph, and I don't know how long they've been doing rosé, but we've had it for 3 or 4 years. And this is light, pale, very bright, but it's in the bottle. It's almost white in color. It's so light, and it tastes the same. Very refreshing. It's one of the best rosés every year for me, and I would certainly suggest it by itself or with very, very light fare. It's much more refreshing style. It doesn't have the depth of the Tavel, but it's a totally different thing. And it's nice to have both of those in the fridge for different types of situations.
I should.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I should probably add this, a couple things. Actually, if you pick up the bottle, you won't see the name Gigolandos on it.
Right.
What happened was 3 or 4 years ago, the appellation came to him and said, look, your wine is too pale, too sleek, too dry. It doesn't fit what we see in Gigolandos Rosé. So he pretty much said, well, screw you then. I'll just call it Vin de France.
Right.
I'm not going to change. So he has actually added a little bit of Ventoux in the form of claret, which you can't get in Gigolandos, and that provides that refreshment. So if you think of white Burgundy with a tinge of red and some complexity to it, this is what he has done.
We're talking about this guy right here.
Yeah, the Les Pallières.
I'm going to move us along so we can get to reds, so I can be part of the conversation. And let's do Pinot Noir first. Just to remind everybody, this entire list is going to be at the bottom of the page that has the store selection. You just go to the bottom and you can download it and print it out. I'm going to give my 10 cents on Gary Farrell because we had Teresa Heredia, the winemaker, on one of our tastings a couple of weeks ago. And this is Russian River, but this is actually the Hallberg. This is a single vineyard. And this woman took over Gary Farrell's Eponymous Winery and then elevated it. Her style of Russian River Pinot is not heavy-handed. She uses, I think Hallberg is from Green Valley. It is. So it's one of the cooler pockets of the Russian River, closer to the Pacific Ocean. But Gary Farrell, to me, Chardonnay or Pinot is truly one of those wineries where you can just say, eeny, meeny. This woman does not skip a beat. She makes just really poignant Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. Okay, guys, your turn. Which one?
Just a word to follow up on that. That's a last call item, so there's probably 15 to 18 bottles. That's it.
Oh,
How many?
15 to 18 bottles.
Okay. Ah, I just saw that. Last call in caps with 3 exclamation marks. All righty. What else do you want to talk about? Any of the Frenchies?
Many of these speak for themselves. Gevrey, Chebertin, Volnay, classic, Girardin. Wine that intrigues me is the Cherie Le Bon and Domaine Arnaud. A lot of people say, oh, red Burgundy, I haven't had that in years, it's too expensive. There's one under $30. It comes from a single site. Cherie Le Bon actually sits right between Beaune and the Corton Mountain. I think it's south facing, so you get more red fruits here. The Arnauds have been there, I think, for 5 generations. They own that property. So you get nice, luscious, mineral-driven French red Burgundy with nice, bright, charming red fruits. 17s are coming on now, so it's just a lovely, lovely red Burgundy. And not too many people know the name Cherie Le Bon, but I think if you look for value and quality, that's the way to go.
beautiful.
And the same type of situation, if you want another California, is a little Kuvasana State Pinot Noir. This is another situation where we were able to get a nice chunk of this one at a very good price. This is from the Napa portion of the Carneros. This is their estate bottled. It'll be a much different style than the Gary Farrell that was mentioned by Madeline. A lot of wine for the money, very classic Carnero style, fresh fruit, lively, cool climate, very good Pinot Noir, and it's a winery that's been working out of the Carneros for about 40 years now. So I think they've got it pretty well figured, and we were able to stumble into a pile of it. So
They recently updated their label too. It's very attractive.
yep, that's nice.
Okay, California Cabernet, drum roll, here we go.
Yeah.
Arguably the most important section to discuss with Dad, and I think these are loosely organized from values on up. And this page does not have Bordeaux on it. It's all California specifically, not even Washington State, either straight Cabernet or proprietary blends or Cabernet-based blends. The one thing I will jump in on right away is either the Justin or the Dow for, $23 and $25 respectively, really represent the value that is Paso. Paso Robles being, Central Coast, incredibly complex terroir there. I was there recently and I was shocked. I had no idea. They have 11 sub-appellations, go figure, and they all voted on them. But for the money, they're hard to beat these. And they, there's not a green tinge to them. They do not taste like inexpensive Cabernet. They just taste like easy drinking Cabernet. Gentlemen, want to pick anything in particular to endorse?
Well, if I had a island wine, I think it would be the Immortal Slope. I've had that a few times. And you're not ever prepared for the intensity and the majesty of that wine. It's almost overwhelming. It's super concentrated, but the edges are nice and rounded off, so it doesn't assault you. It just goes all over you. And it's just a tremendous achievement, I think, in just Cabernet expression, regardless
97
of the
points
source.
from Parker, right?
but it's got good balance to it. It's nice, big, ripe. It has all of that, but it's not sloppy in any way. Nice focus, nice drive, but incredible intensity.
And one of the interesting things that goes along with that is we've been selling that for the last year to 18 months for $89.97. Got the opportunity because there was some cases left at the winery and they were moving into 215. Got a special purchase and we're able to drop it down to $74.97. And there's also the 10% discount on top of that. But as Rod said, that is a mouthful. And, you know, I get that for Dad instead of a box of golf balls. That's going to be quite a wine.
I should also add the Faust is sitting there, very classic, black graphite, super value. And we typically sold that for about 50. So we've got we sharpened our pencils, got a great deal on this, and we can pass that on. But very classic, epic California Napa Valley, as classic as it gets.
And then one of the wines on there, it's a favorite of mine, is a Sinith. And this is a Cabernet Franc-based wine from up in the Sonoma Mountains. And it's part of the Jackson family estates that makes the expensive wines that are $300 and $400. This is made by a young lady whose family comes from Saint-Emilion, and she tried to base this wine on the Cabernet Franc Merlot style of that area. It's a really big, rich wine that has a very special taste because it's 60% Cabernet Franc and 25% Merlot. So again,
that's
this
very unusual. Yeah.
Yes, one that is. We were fortunate to get a little bit of that left at the end of the vintage, and we have some left of that at a really great price at $40. But very unique wine and very tasty. My other favorite would be Joseph Phelps.
Oh yeah.
And you know, if you could probably name a half a dozen wineries and say I've never had a bad bottle of wine from them. Sometimes
Right.
you'll have a wine that you like better than another, or this or that, or they didn't like the style. But quality-wise, from the very beginning, they've been exceptional and have evolved from German Riesling exceptional producers to making some of the best year in and year out Cabernet in Napa, and tend to be affordable pricing, insignia at the top, and this wine is always solid, delivers well, and we have a great price. It's primarily Cabernet, very intense, and will certainly provide another 5 or 10 years worth of aging opportunity.
But they're dependably terrific. That's all there is to it.
Year in and year out.
Okay. Everybody with us? We're sort of marching right along at a steady clip, and I.
Doing great. We're doing great.
How much wine's left, Andy?
Not much.
Okay.
No, I'm teasing. More than half a bottle.
Okay.
I am, nobody's typing in any questions, but if anybody has them, you can, or unmute yourself and speak up, because I tried to unmute everyone, but some of you have kept yourselves muted. So we'll just keep going. Let me go back to the website, hold the boat. Okay, here we go. I'm absurdly pleased with myself that I can manage this. All righty, what Bordeaux do you guys want to talk about? These are all 15s and 16s, is that correct?
Yes, we were very fortunate to still have a little 15 and 16, and we're able to get a little bit more. Most of these wines are at pre-tariff prices. The next couple vintages will reflect those situations, probably a little bit more. But the wine that I really like is the Fleur Cardinal 215. We had that at one of our tastings, I think, a year ago, and it was just drinking wonderful. This is a family-owned property that they took over in the 2001 and have done wonderful things with this. It's 70% Merlot, 20% Cabernet Franc, and only 5% Cabernet. Grand Cru Classé. Drinks really well right now. Will continue to age for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years easily. But in that price point, it really over delivers and represents a really fine value in a quality Saint Emilion from a really wonderful vintage.
Rod,
Uh,
gonna jump
well,
on.
I have a couple of favorites here. For value, I like the Sénéjac Classic Bordeaux. It comes from the Haut Médoc. It's 51% Cabernet, 49% Merlot with a little bit of Cabernet Franc. 15 vintage. It's actually going to close up a little bit. So I think if you buy it right now, you might be buying it more for maybe 2 or 3 years from now when it really opens up. It, I think, kills the competition at its price point. The other wine that all of these are standout. This is an incredibly fabulous Bordeaux selection that we have. But I do have a personal favorite in Auberge Liberal. It's owned by the Lurton family. In fact, we're trying to get one of them, Claire Villars, who is the winemaker here, maybe on a virtual
tasting. That would be
would be
just great.
fabulous. She makes beautiful Pauillacs. Yeah, you can. It's not Lafite itself, but I think it's classic to what Pauillac is about today. 70% Cabernet, 30% Merlot, always just perfectly balanced. 16 has a special signature to it, and that those wines seem to have a huge amount of energy. I just had a conversation with an importer yesterday who said there's a group of people he knows who have been going through and trying wines a year after everybody else does, and they were struck at how incredibly intense and full body and across the board 16 was. Not to say 15's not that either. It's a different vintage. 15's are a little more stylish or
I think it's
laid
a
back.
little easier, young too.
Yeah.
It's a little closer to the new world.
Yeah, and 16s just have that great exuberance, great intensity, and beautiful acidity. So,
I'm going to jump on here and say, if I were to pick one bottle of French red to give to someone, I would seriously consider the Auberge Liberal. Pauillac is Cabernet Sauvignon, and from a spectacular vintage. And to buy one significantly under $100 that drinks like this and has this kind of class is a treat. I've just been told by our team that we have to finish a little bit before 6. So that said, I am going to nudge us along. Do you want to talk Rhone, Italian, or Spanish if we have to do this on the fly? Should we go to Italy? Why
Sure.
not?
Go
well,
ahead, Rod.
I have one wine on here that's a personal favorite of mine, Loguerie Châteauneuf Côte d'Aron. It's a personal favorite. I buy it every year myself. I'm going to be buying some of this because it's 10% off. Why not?
The Laguerie Cuvée Romaine Côte d'Aron.
Yes.
And it's $13.97 plus 10% off. And I'm going to make a little play for this Château de la Fond de Loup Le Puy Roland. Those of you who heard the owner of the estate, Charlotte, a couple of weeks ago on a tasting, know how special she is. And this wine is very elegant Château du Pape. It's not heavy-handed at all. I know Denny's a big fan too of the Coudelet and the Hello, doggy.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna mute.
Okay.
I was going to say that I'm a big fan, but that wasn't me. No, I would certainly say the Coudelet has always been a big fan of. I've always been a big fan of.
On that Fontaloupe, if you think of Rayas, then that's where Fontaloupe is. By the way.
Yes, because that's and it's this one isn't all Grenache, but it is planted on sandy soil.